Grab your keys, your wallet, and today your four-legged buddy too. Today is Take Your Dog to Work Day. Pet Sitters International started the event 10 years ago as a way to promote animal adoption from humane societies and animal shelters. Well, it may sound like a lot of fun to take your dog to work, but depending on how disciplined your buddy is, could end up being a disaster. That's why we brought in an expert today. In case you decide to take your dog to work, Al Holzer is from Barkbusters. He joins us now in Portland this morning. Good morning, Al.
Good morning, Cam.
What are some of the most common complaints you hear from dog owners?
Well, I think when you take a dog to work, first thing you should realize is you should know your dog. All dogs have different temperaments and personalities. You might have a very confident dog. You might have a dog that's very skittish or shy or nervous. So the first thing to really understand if you're thinking about taking your dog to work is, should you take your dog to work? If you have a dog that's very fearful, shy, and skittish, or a dog that may be showing some aggression, you don't want to take that dog to work. So you really have to know your dog is the first thing.
Do you think people lose sight of discipline because the dog turns into just another member of the family?
Yeah, very much so. What happens is people tend to treat their dogs like little people. And dogs are canine. They are not little people, of course. They've been domesticated about 12,000 years, but they still think and act canine, very much like wolves in terms of their pack mentality. So dogs see the world through canine eyes, and they really need a strong pack leader. And the owners need to be that strong pack leader to make sure that the dog understands where it fits into the pecking order of the pack, so that the dog relaxes, doesn't feel like it has to be protective of its owners or its territory. And if you're a strong pack leader with good voice control, then you can control your dog in any situation, and your dog will be well behaved and well mannered.
Now, most of us just don't do that every day. Our meteorologist Nick Allard has a dog named Clyde, and he has there's Clyde, and Nick, not Clyde, has a question for you. He wants to know, how can he get Clyde to come to him when he calls him?
Well, the key, I think, a couple of things. You need to have good voice control and good leadership. So your dog needs to really see you as the pack leader, and by definition, if you're the leader of the pack, when you call him, he should respond to you. And so there are a couple little things you also can do by way of sort of introducing that concept. One thing, people tend to call their dogs in a stern voice and stand up tall and say, "Come over here, Rover." And what they want to do is they want to lose their height, get down low, and use a very high voice, very encouraging voice, so that the dog will be more likely to come to the owner. So there are a number of things that you can do, and we teach what's called recall. But certainly lose your height and raise your voice and call the dog over. And 9 times out of the 10, the dog will come in those situations.
Okay, here's another picture. This picture is of my guy, Nico, half lab, half Newfoundland. He could definitely use some social etiquette skills. And you have 5 tips that can help us bring our dogs to work or anywhere else without embarrassment. What are they?
Well, I mean, the first one that we talked about initially was to know your dog. Okay, you really want to be aware of your dog's personality type. Secondly, you want to be sure you can control your dog. Controlling your dog means that you have good voice control. If you're taking your dog to work, you want to have your dog on leash so that you can bring your dog from the car to the office on leash. You want to make sure you have good voice control. You want to make sure that your dog will sit and stay and come when you call your dog, even if it's distracted. So controlling your dog is important. When you take your dog to work or take it to an unfamiliar setting, you want to bring some familiar items. A lot of dogs are stressed out when they go to the work setting. And so if you can bring, the dog's bed, blanket, pillow, bring dog toys with you so that the dog has something to do and it's a familiar toy that the dog can play with.
Okay.
Do your friends a favor. Don't bring a squeaky toy to work.
All right. Before we let you go, Al, Nick has one more question for you about Clyde. Hey, Nick.
Hey, Cam and Al. Yeah, so, Clyde's big thing is he'll come whenever I say to, but then he'll get a little bit distracted in certain environments if you're playing fetch or this or that. My big thing, though, and he doesn't ever hurt anybody. He never has. But sometimes he likes to be a dominant dog. If a kid's over, one of our neighbors, he'll give what I'm going to call, for television purposes, a little puppy hug to the kid. He'll try to show them that he's dominant over them. We never let it happen. If you get my picture, you might try to mount them a little.
I do.
So let's talk. I've heard other dogs have done this. I'd like it to end. What should I do?
Yeah, it really takes training, and what we do is we encourage owners to be trained.
Sure,
The dogs
absolutely.
are usually easy. Dogs will tend to treat little children as beneath them in the pecking order of the pack, and they will try to correct them just like they'd correct puppies. And if they corrected a puppy, the puppy has a thick coat of fur. Obviously, your child doesn't.
Right.
And so your child can get nipped or jumped on or those kinds of things. And so we would teach you how to teach Clyde how to respect children.
Okay.
And it's a process.
I'd like to learn that. He doesn't ever, like I said, never hurts them or anything, but he will try to jump on them, and the kid's just thinking, what in the heck is going on? Hey, Al Holzer with Barkbusters, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Good luck to you, and maybe I'll be calling you afterwards to get a little bit of help with Clyde.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. We'll come back after the break and take a look at your weekend forecast coming up.